Here's some more books I've been reading recently. Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Zach with Zacks Books, and today I've got for you 4 recent reads. The 4 of these books were, I kind of like a toss-up on just like ones I wanted to read. I don't really think any of these were in my TBR for June. Not June, we're not in June. May. I think maybe 2 of these could have been. But yeah, I read 4 books recently. They were all pretty solid. I want to say between 3.5 to 4 stars was probably the minimum. I'm still kind of debating on one of them. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for stuff like this. And don't forget to check out anything down below. Our Instagrams are down there, Goodreads. The podcast is down there. Also, if you're intrigued with any 4 of these books, we will have those linked down below. Also in this list is possibly one of the top thrillers I've ever read of all time. So stay tuned for that, and without further ado, let's get this thing started. Alright, so the first one I'm going to talk about is the one that I'm kind of up in the air about, between 3.5 and 4 stars, and that is Goblin by Josh Malerman. So this was just recently released, I want to say this past for May. It was released in May at some point, I want to say. And it's 6 stories. A Man in Slices, Camp, Happy Birthday Hunter, Presto, A Mix-Up at the Zoo, and The Hedges. 6 short stories, along with like an outro story and an intro story. And so it's kind of technically 7 stories, I'll say. And it's all kind of surrounding this place called Goblin, and it keeps getting referenced. None of the characters like reoccur in the stories either, which I thought was kind of weird. The first one I ended up giving 4 stars, and honestly the rest of them are all pretty much between 3 and 3.5 stars. Not the worst book I read is a short story collection. I want to say Strange Weather by Joe Hill was actually not that good. But Goblin was a pretty solid one, and I gave, overall, I mean, even though the short stories that were all like 3.5 stars, now that I've kind of pondered it, I would give this book probably a 4-star rating. It is pretty solid. It does have some good moments, some great stories. There was one story I thought was kind of annoying that didn't make a whole lot of sense, but other than that, really solid short story collection. I do recommend this, and he is also the author of Bird Box and Mallory, if you did not know that, which I gave both of those, I think, 4 or 5 stars. So, very solid collection. You do kind of get some Stephen King vibes from this cover, too, because it looks like you get one of the twins. There's the maze from Kubrick's The Shining. Then that looks like the house from Salem's Lot. It was like the first thing I said when I saw this cover to Danielle. So, yeah, very cool collection. 4 stars. I'd recommend it. Next book I'm going to talk about is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. So this is year 2, book 2. I guess each book is a year for Harry Potter. So these books are actually kind of heavy compared to the last one I just held up. So this is the 2nd chapter in the Harry Potter franchise, the Chamber of Secrets. So this is a pretty solid story. I think I gave this one 5 stars. if I keep referencing the video I made last year, Danielle, I am actually enjoying the Harry Potter stories. I've actually been watching clips of Harry Potter movies on YouTube lately, and it just really makes me want to keep reading it because I know some good stuff's happening in the future. I will say that this, I think, is the last version of a Harry Potter book that's more towards like children, kinda. Because I think the next one, The Prisoner of Azkaban, kind of gets a little bit darker, and then the rest of the franchise from there is just darker stuff. So I'm excited to get to the darker stuff because I really want to get to those portions of Harry Potter where it does get super dark, because I'm just really anxious to get to them. I want to see how it goes down towards the end in the books, because I loved the Deathly Hallows Part 2 was really solid. I really enjoyed that ending. I just can't wait to get to the Deathly Hallows is what I'm pretty much getting at. But yeah, Harry Potter: The Chamber of Secrets, Year 2, very solid book. I will give it 5 stars. So there you have the second chapter of Harry Potter. Alright, the last 2 I'm going to talk about were also 5 stars, and I really enjoyed both stories. The first one I'm going to talk about is a Stephen King book that has been on a TBR list for probably 5 months now. Maybe even 6. And that is The Institute. So I finally read this book. It's not massive, but it did take me a little while to get through it. So this is about a young boy named Luke who is really smart. He's like 12, I think his age is. And what happens is he gets taken from his home, his parents get murdered, and they take him to this place called the Institute, where gifted people either have telekinesis. They can either move stuff or they can read minds. Those are the 2 abilities that they have them listed as. I forget what they give them certain names with, like PK or something like that. And Luke is someone who can move stuff with his mind. He can't read them, but he can move stuff. And so he meets a whole bunch of friends there, and it's really cool, really exciting. And then the other story you get at the beginning is about a police officer who he didn't start a police officer. He was one, retired, and then he went back kind of into the force. He was kind of like this night guard for this town, kind of. And then the guy's like, "You're too overqualified for your position. We have a police officer who's kind of sucking right now, so why don't we swap you guys out?" And he's like, "Okay." That was the first chapter, and then the whole rest of the book was pretty much just about this little kid up until I think the second or last chapter of the book. Then it kind of went back to where they were with the police officer. Overall, really solid book. I will say it kind of gave off some... a lot of people who I've heard talk about this book kind of said they get like some Stranger Things vibes from this book. As much as I want to say that, I really didn't get it. Not the book. I understood the book. I meant like the Stranger Things vibes. I didn't really see it that much because the cop, who would have been Hopper in this situation, was hardly anywhere in the book, and he pretty much was only at the beginning and at the end. And I would have loved to see some more interaction with the kids and the police officer. I would have loved to have seen some more, stuff like that. Unfortunately, that's not how it went down. I will say, I'm not going to give any more spoilers besides, I will say that people do die in this book. I'm not going to say who or give any more spoilers than that. It's not like sad deaths by any means. It's just unfortunate what happens to one of the people, and I really did not enjoy it. But yeah, really solid book. I really enjoyed it. 5 stars. I really recommend it. I'm just glad I finally read it, and it's taken me so long to finally do it. But here you have The Institute by Stephen King. Alright, so the last book I'm going to talk about was probably one of the biggest surprising books of 2021 in general for me, to be honest. And that is The Plot by Jean Hamp Corlitz. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm sorry, Jean. So this book gets 5 stars from me. There's no doubt in my mind that this is a 5-star read. This is about a author named Jake who decides to start teaching at this university. While he's there, he's kind of going over like how to create stories, and kind of he's like a teacher for like people who are just starting out to like write books. He's kind of been in a writing slump. First one he wrote was alright, and he's just been in a slump. There he meets this student that delivers to him this really solid story, and he's like, you need to write that. And what ends up happening is that student dies, and the story never gets published until Jacob writes it. And then he starts getting harassed by somebody, doesn't know who it is, and they're like, I know what you did, that's not your story. From there, a whole lot of stuff goes on. The biggest plot twist one of the biggest plot twists I've ever read happens in this book, and it is the best. It is phenomenal. Danielle and I, we didn't like buddy read it together. I had read it and then she read it, but she gave this 5 stars as well, and also has this as one of her top 3, I think, thriller books of all time, top 5 at least. So, very great book. I absolutely love this. 5 stars. Please read this. We'll have all 4 of these linked down below. So, there you have The Plot by Jean Hanff-Korelitz. Alright, so these are the 4 books I read recently. All of them probably about 4 stars or better. Goblin, again, being the one where I'm kind of in between because the stories, they're okay. But yes, all 4 of these books we will have linked down below. All really solid books, and I enjoyed all of them. So, please check them out. We'll have them down below, like I just said. Check them out. Also down there you will find our Instagrams, the podcast, whatever else you can find down there. I'm starting to lose track of what we're putting down there. So, a lot of cool things are down below. Check them all out. What are some books you've read recently that you're really excited about? Let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next video. Later.